What is going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for joining us today on episode 28 of the Heroes and Mutants podcast. I'm Nick with my co-host
James.
And finally returning. He was absent last week, so we were glad to have him back.
Yeah.
Josue.
I said Josue.
Oh, well, I was talking over you, so.
No, my name is Josue.
And Ruben couldn't be here today, so unfortunately he is here in spirit, but
is he really? He's haunting the set?
He's here in spirit.
Hey, my mic moved a little while ago.
So there's pretty big news in the superhero community. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, tragically passed away last Friday from after a battle with colon cancer that he had been secretly battling for 4 years. And the crazy thing was, James, literally the news broke like 10 minutes after we got done. With our
last podcast.
Yeah, with our last podcast. So I was literally driving on the way home, and you actually texted me, and I just saw like on the description, like from on my phone, like Chadwick Boseman, and I was like, no, this couldn't be. And then by the time I checked Instagram and Facebook, it was all over the news. So, with that being discussed, let's talk about the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. What impact did he have in his short time with the MCU, and what will he do with the character Black Panther going forward?
As far as the impact goes, I think he had a huge impact on people. Black Panther, and it was a big cultural event. For one, it was the first people try to argue that there were black superheroes before Black Panther, and yeah, you're correct, you're right when you say
they
that.
Mainly mentioned Blade is the one they mentioned.
We talked about Blade and Spawn as being the other one, but
not to this level.
Yeah, Blade is a vampire, which means he's damned to hell. Spawn is also damned to hell, that's very it's very much part of his character. Those are R-rated franchise.
They're more anti-heroes too. Black Panther was the first like legit hero, and all black cast actually. One minus Martin Freeman, of course. Yeah,
well, the token white. There's been token blacks for years. So
colonizer, they colonized it. You mean?
Yeah, so we can have a token white person if we have token black people.
That's funny. That's a good
for years, but it was the first real superhero, not anti-hero. Something that kids could actually look up to, the way that kids look up to Spider-Man or
Superman,
Captain America, Superman,
exactly.
Batman, Thor. Like, so this for me was a cultural milestone that he broke, was like the first real superhero movie. So I think for a lot of kids who grew up not seeing themselves portrayed on screen, and of course people of all races love all the like every superhero. Black people love superheroes.
This is different when you have this, this actual not only he's from Africa, but just one of the top, characters going forward, and just was honestly probably had the most badass moments in Civil War. Like his character reveal, and then his fighting scenes were usually the best. So
and
that
overall,
was
just the movie quality and just the way that Marvel brought the Black Panther tradition. They did use a lot of old, which made the movie much more special. Was more towards the first big screen hero that was ever.
One that was not an anti-hero, and one where kids could actually look up. Kids can't look up to Spawn. He's not a good person. So when people used to make that argument that black superheroes exist, I'm like, yeah, but not an unabashed, not morally ambiguous, like a real superhero. So I think that was something important, and it brought something new to culture.
Right.
It brought something
new.
new.
Overall, just knowing, like you said, secretly he was fighting colon cancer.
It's crazy.
Since he got, like we talked about
since Civil War.
In the Cut the Films movie, like he started since he's, like you said, Civil War. Like, so he had that thrive in him still, where he's like, he loved acting.
Exactly.
No matter how much pain he was going through, he still continued. And I feel like knowing that now, and overall, like, who didn't love Black Panther? Like,
exactly.
He made his mark in the Marvel community and overall comic.
Right.
Like, he's such a good actor outside of it too. The Five Bloods, 42, the one where he plays James.
Get on up.
Just all that
definitely
commitment that he had, and all the passion, and just hearing all these actors coming out and saying how genuine and how pure he was.
All the charity and like, visiting kids who even had cancer themselves, or were
just like, it's heartbreaking. Like, like you said, it was just out of the random. I was barely coming back from my trip, and I saw Jimmy's message, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I had to stop to the side, and the girl was like, hey, like, what's going on? I was like, wait, I just gotta check.
So crazy.
First place, Google, because Google always has the answer. Oh, it's
exactly.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, I just got quiet.
Yeah.
Damn. Like, I never felt something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was
shocking
too.
Definitely. I mean, the impact was great, was big for me, because not only was this when I first started getting into the comics, this was one of the first Marvel heroes I was really getting into, and I read his story on Civil War, what was going on with him during that time. But just because I had followed him as an actor ever since because he actually played one of my sport heroes, he played one of my music heroes, and then he played one of my comic heroes. So
you're a Jackie Robinson and
Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and Black Panther. So I had been following him ever since 42 because he was an unknown, and then he got that role. But when I grew up a baseball fan, grew up, and then I got into dance, and b-boying when I was in high school, and then one of our heroes was James Brown, and the impact he had on hip hop and then dancing, just was a lot of people he's still like highly influential in hip hop and dancing even till this day, and we always get down to Get It Up or Turn It Loose. That's one of those hype songs that they play in jams and battles. That's one of those main songs that just gets everybody hyped.
People call James Brown the Black Elvis. This is before he reached that kind of level of iconic stature.
Yeah, in terms of funk and soul, definitely. But
I'd actually argue he's better than Elvis, but that's for a different other conversation.
In terms of talent, dancing, But,
100% agree with you on
when
that.
I remember seeing 42, and I was just like, and I was like, Black Panther,
which I liked.
Yeah, and then when it was announced that then literally the next year he did Get On Up, and then I was super hyped for that, and then just knowing the difference, like how he transitioned from Jackie Robinson to James Brown, those are two highly different characters. Jackie was more reserved and more conservative,
very huge icons,
and obviously breaking the color barrier, and then James Brown was flamboyant and arrogant, narcissistic. So he nailed both of those characters perfectly. Even just the voice that he had of James Brown, and then getting down doing the James Brown splits. I was like, this guy is going to be perfect as Black Panther. And then literally just a couple months after he did Get On Up, like October 2014 was when he was announced. They announced that he was going to be Black Panther, and he appeared on stage, I think with Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. So
Comic-Con too.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. It was like an event where they were unveiling, I think, Phase 3. It was 2014. So it was literally just a few months after he did Get On Up. So I was very hyped from the beginning, and just knowing that he was a great actor. He nailed Jackie Robinson, he nailed James Brown, and then he did, Thurgood Marshall. So he did a lot of these roles that were more geared to
Court Justice.
So he was doing a lot of these roles that were geared more towards that kind of legacy, and just, he is a phenomenal actor. So I was really on board. And then he actually took his training seriously. He was training with Maurice Crump, who is a very awesome black martial artist, and he worked with Tony Jaa. He was a student of a really prestigious Thai choreographer and filmmaker in Thailand. So he's doing Filipino martial arts. I don't know if you got ESPN, I think, posted that clip of them training. That's Filipino martial arts he's doing. So just seeing that he took a lot of that seriously, and just not even knowing what he was battling this whole time. And and I think the thing that really saddened me was
all the photos and memes.
The photos and like the videos he posted, and he deleted them because people were calling him Crack Panther, or saying, oh, he's on drugs, or oh, he's he's doing this or he's doing that. And then knowing the battle, what he was going through at that time. Like,
it's just a reminder to people, you don't know what people are going through, and whether they're famous or not. If you don't know somebody's situation in life, it's best to leave comments like that to yourself, because obviously I imagine some people who posted that are probably embarrassed now. And I would recommend you take it off if you posted anything like that. I would delete that all from your social media right away.
It's really just sad, especially just because of the kind of work he was doing, and then and
it's
having
also
just
knowing
so
that
dedicated.
He was going to like you said, he was going to children's cancer wards while he was battling cancer. So he was facing something that most of us will hope to never to have to face in our life, something very awful, life altering, something really scary, but to still be able to go, because he knew what it would mean to children who are going through the same disease. They get to see their hero right before their eyes. They get to see the Black Panther. So just things like that. I think that to be able to do that while you yourself are battling cancer, it takes a special kind of person, somebody who has a really human, altruistic heart. Somebody you have to have a really decent person to do something like that.
So I think even if he hadn't done Black Panther, he would have gone down, his legacy would have been highly defined as somebody who was at least showing, these black icons, these black heroes, and just what they were doing, what they meant to the times. And I think about going forward, that's also something I wanted to talk about. What I feel they're going to do with Black Panther going forward. I feel like they're just going to pass the mantle on to Shuri, and because obviously she has a run in the comics where she does take over as Black Panther also. And there were also rumors a few months back, or I think at the beginning of the year, where they said they're looking to have Shuri take over. I wonder if this was because he had known this was around that time. Maybe he had came to reveal to them and said, "Hey, like I have stage 4 cancer and it looks bleak for me. Even if I get better, like I'm still gonna."
I don't know if it feels like if he did do that. I mean,
well, the only reason I say that was because there was those rumors that Disney they were looking to eye Shuri as.
I mean, just his age already, he was at the age of.
He was, early 40s. So
and at that age, like just look at Robert Downey Jr., just look at Chris Evans. Like they don't have that much movie going, so him,
and then he's a highly physical character, obviously,
like,
because
they're very older for the generation that superheroes are coming to.
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit different because they're not really that physically based.
And overall,
Black
just
Panther
bringing in
the
new Avengers, like you already know that Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Spot. So we already knew that, like overall, like when I heard that Shuri was gonna take over, I knew it was gonna.
I figured it was gonna. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. I just didn't think it was gonna happen
that soon.
I didn't think it was gonna happen that soon. So that's the only reason I wonder. I'm speculating, just if he had revealed to them how bad it was, or just his condition. And then
he didn't know. Actually, Kevin Feige did not find out until about an hour.
Oh, okay. So
he passed.
Well, the only reason I brought it up was because it just felt so soon that they.
He got an email like an hour before he passed from Chadwick Boseman's people, letting him know that
he's on his deathbed.
Yeah, that he's on his deathbed. But from what I understand, since it was like literally an hour before, he didn't read it until after he passed. So it came as a shock to most people who are not aware. So I feel like Disney and Marvel are in a really delicate situation because on the one hand, you have the death of somebody who meant a lot to a lot of people. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of like celebrities and stuff that means something to people, but he really represented something to people, something something of a cultural breakthrough. It's hard for them to talk about how they're going to go forward in the future without looking like they're just being disrespectful or we're just moving on for Chadwick Boseman. However, they are still making the series, so they still do have to internally start to figure out, even if publicly they're not going to announce that.
Exactly.
Because it's not going to look good. No matter what you say, that's not going to look good.
That's just the storyline. I was so excited for what the future of Black Panther had. You know? Like the next movie was supposed to be introduced. So it's just...
I feel like it has to be his sister. I don't see them replacing it. I think it would be too awkward. He defined the character way too much, for one thing. Yeah. The movie was way too huge.
And I feel it's also too, just with the fact he was culturally loved and everybody loved him as T'Challa. So I don't feel...
That movie was, it made more money than Avengers Endgame, which is a bigger budgeted, bigger spectacle movie than Black Panther.
And the soundtrack was fire. Kendrick Lamar and that whole album.
And the soundtrack was influential for the hip hop community.
Exactly.
And what the biggest challenge they're going to have facing forward is I felt they were making Black Panther one of the centers of the new phase of Marvel since. Robert Downey Jr. is gone. There's no more Iron Man. Chris Evans is gone. Captain America. Chris Hemsworth is on his way out as Thor. I know he still has a couple more. He's going to still do it a couple more times, but he's not going to do it forever.
So they're like, I feel like him, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man were going to be like the new trinity of the MC of this next phase of the MCU going forward.
So what that really puts a huge dent in everything because he was going to be one of the main. Rightfully so, too. One of the main focal points of the Marvel movies moving forward. So they're going to have to be really delicate with it. Recasting is not going to work, like I said, because he already defined the role too much.
Exactly.
And it was the first superhero movie that was nominated for Best Picture. That one was nominated for Oscars, too, which I actually, besides the point, but I actually think there were a handful that could have gotten nominations before.
Definitely.
But it's too culturally big to just replace them. They're going to have to do what they did in the comics, which is hand it off to his sister. And it'll look like a positive gesture. I imagine it's something Chadwick would like to.
Exactly. I feel like it's easier. It's not like if it was like another hero because the title Black Panther is a moniker for whoever's like the monarch of the king or queen of Wakanda at the time. So it makes sense. It's not like, someone else has passed and then, they're going to become the new Spider-Man. It's like, what? Like, why in their memory? So I feel like it's easier for them to hand it off to...
Yeah. And I think it would also send a positive message because like we mentioned earlier, it made a lot of kids feel like, hey, I could be a superhero because I see someone who looks like me. Now little girls, little black girls specifically, or little girls in general,
see Shuri and
we'll be able to see Shuri and they'll see themselves projected on the screen.
Especially with this whole like Marvel's whole, you definitely know that going forward they're going to be more serious about bringing female led roles in the future. So
and inclusivity, things like that.
Especially just with that and that the women empowerment scene in Endgame. So that definitely makes sense. So
I think she was in that scene too.
Yeah, she was. No, I'm just saying though. But so yeah, with all that being said, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, our king. Rest in peace, brother.
Wakanda forever.
Miss you. Wakanda forever.
Come on, Josh.
So let's get to some other news that was released at DC Fandom. So for season 3 of Titans, it's been revealed that Red Hood, Commissioner Barbara Gordon, and Scarecrow are coming to season 3 of Titans, which is set in Gotham City now. I personally feel having Red Hood is a little too early, but I'm curious to see Scarecrow's role, especially since it's been said he's going to be locked up at Arkham, and he's going to be kind of like a consigliere, like a kind of like a Hannibal Lecter type role. He's what's going to have to the Gotham Police Department.
A Hannibal Lecter type role?
Exactly.
Interesting.
So how do you guys feel about this?
Overall, Titans is I haven't fully caught up to the show, but I have.
Mm.
And overall, it's a very entertaining show. I like that DC. Overall, whenever for me, it always is better. You know, it sticks more. And like you said, I kind of do agree on the whole Red Hood situation of him coming in early. I don't know what.
Definitely too early.
But overall, like what you're saying about the maniacal section of Scarecrow, he's always been since he came out in Batman Begins, I liked his interpretation.
Right.
It creeped me the hell out when he just threw the smoke and everyone's tripping. But so seeing that overall in Titans and knowing that Titans does stick to the actual comic side of it and the darkness to it, I'm excited.
Definitely. What do you think, Jimmy?
So my whole thing is that I hope that they have a really good idea. I'm hoping the reason that they jumped the gun, which I think it is to already include the Red Hood.
Fan service.
Fan service. And obviously because they know it's going to get people's attention. It's going to get people watching. I get the marketability factor. But I hope that they came out with a really good storytelling reason that's going to justify such an early appearance of the Red Hood in this universe. So, it might have been too early, but there are ways that they could still do a good job with it. There's no reason at this point, to me anyway, to be worried or to be feel like it just seems like more like small miscalculation that could be carried off right if they do it with enough care. So I'm open to it. It's not a decision I would have arrived at.
Definitely.
But it's not the worst thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And same here with me because I've been watching it since the first season. First season, I felt just try to be too dark sometimes, especially this whole angsty Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And
Gotham is edgy.
Then they have to remind you that it's rated R so much. They drop the F-bomb so many times, just out of nowhere. They'll just be turning, F. And I'm just like, did they really need to do that?
Yeah.
Just to let.
And then some of the violence, Robin is Dick Grayson is a little too over the edge with violence. And then he's kind of a hypocrite because Jason Todd goes berserk against these the squadron of officers and beats the hell out of them. And he's all like, there's no way Batman would be cool with this. And
I had similar issues with it. Even though I think it was good, I do think that they go I get where Batman and then the Gotham, that whole universe is a dark universe, and I get that. But there seems to be this thing, and it's a trend where because Batman is a dark character, that people take it to dour points where everybody's brooding, everybody's edging. When you start throwing and cussing, just turning to the camera to say the F word for no reason,
or when he says F Batman, that's literally how they treat it, and it's all the same. I'm like, they have to remind us that it's rated R,
and then the excessive violence when it looks like you're trying too hard to be edgy. It looks more childish than if you had just aimed it at children in the first place. Almost like adults trying to be so edgy.
And it would work with Jason Todd, but it doesn't work with Dick Grayson because he's that one character out of everybody in the Bat family who's full of hope and optimism, even way more so than Bruce. So it just
Bruce is a jolly good guy,
But it sucks because they have a really great actor. I think Brenton Thwaites is a really great actor, and he looks like an ideal version of Dick Grayson. I just hate that he's dropping the F-bombs so many times and is using ultra violence in the first season.
I don't have a problem with them dropping F-bombs, but
that's not my main problem. It's
long as the conversation's organic, because people cuss in real life when they get frustrated. But if you're just turning to the camera to smirk, oh, I dropped an F-bomb. Oh, look at me. That's cheesy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cheesy.
I'm So I feel like it's just too early with the Red Hood because he hasn't died yet, but they've kind of hinted at that he's gonna become that dark. So I feel like they're gonna adapt the storyline probably similar to Arkham Knight, where he didn't actually die. He just Joker just faked his death and he ran off somewhere and who knows? I feel like there's probably gonna be a little bit of a time jump just to like allow time for Jason to have gone off and trained and taken on built up his for some reason
that
for him
would
to
make
build up
that would actually make it make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
and with a show like this, a time jump can make sense because there's so much territory and ground to cover, and you only have so many seasons to do it. I could see that the creators like, we're not going to get to this on time. We need to start skipping some years.
Exactly.
So we can
get, you said, as long as they make it look organic and it flows exactly.
So I feel like it is early and it's mainly just fan service because everybody does want to see the Red Hood.
But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be done well.
Yeah. My only thing is I hope they will be done.
Did you hear the news that John Boyega wanted to play Red Hood?
Oh, God.
Since he couldn't be Static Shock?
I mean, he's not going to be in for this show because obviously the actor was Jason Todd, but
let's get a Static Shock movie going.
Well, hold your horses. But and then it's weird too because Barbara Gordon is going to be, they said she's going to be Commissioner Barbara Gordon. That Jim Gordon is apparently to have died. So I'm like, that just feels weird because she's going to be.
Maybe that's where the time jump actually works.
Is it me or does
not really? Because it would make. But they're not. But obviously, Dick Grayson is going to be Nightwing. He's not going to be that old, and Barbara Gordon is going to. I feel like it's going to be too young for them. Like Barbara is going to be too young for him to be commissioner. She's probably going to be mid to late 20s at her oldest, and it just feels weird. I'm like, was she going to have been Batgirl at some point, and then she quit? That's gonna make sense, but still, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I'm cool. I would have rather had her become Oracle, but because that would just have her fit into that period better. But I don't. So I'm like, this is going to be a little bit weird. And then Scarecrow, I'm really interesting to see because it would make sense for him to kind of have like like consigliere or like kind of be a consultant to like the Gotham Police Department.
Yeah.
Well, consultant.
You're using mafia terms now. It's trying to scare me, Nick. What are you involved in when you get out of this podcast?
Consultant, whatever. But so I feel like, and to obviously he's probably going to be an also villain you have to look out for because obviously he's not just going to be helping them off of his own good free will. He's probably going to try to do it to get time off for good behavior and then transfer to a low level prison and then break or something. So obviously he's going to have something up his sleeve.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to see what they do. I just want really good action and I just want cohesive stories because it feels a little muddled and it feels a little weird saying it out loud. But I'm excited to see what they do with it.
I'm excited to see what they do with it. I feel like there's a lot of potential.
Definitely.
A lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially it's a young
show. And then, speaking of DC fandom, we finally had a character reveal trailer for the Suicide Squad sequel. Also, they had some behind the scenes footage where we got to see who could possibly be the main villain. Starro the Conqueror is rumored to be that main villain. He was actually a Justice League villain. He was the first villain the Justice League actually faced. He's this little purple alien life form who looks like a starfish, obviously. And he's
like Patrick.
Exactly. Patrick who can basically control your mind. And he has like offspring because some spots in the trailer, it looked some of the soldiers look like they had a starfish over their face. So obviously that can only be one person. So do you guys feel confident?
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
Do you guys feel confident that it looks like it will be a great improvement over the first film?
Oh yeah, I could just tell you the character designs actually give me hope because I really like what he's doing with it.
Rick, it's not taking that dark gritty tone. Like Rick Flag actually wears his traditional yellow shirt. Yeah. Harley wears a more traditional costume to her initial appearance, or at least like the Arkham.
It's a little bit closer to the classic Jester look that Harley originally had. Of course, it's not full on.
I feel like it's more going to be like it looks more Arkham City Injustice influence.
And my thing with and this brings me back to something I said earlier. A lot of people with like Batman properties, like I get it, he's a dark character, but sometimes they try to overdo it, and that forced darkness, that faux edginess starts to look cheesy and it's cornier. Yeah, it can be a little bit corny.
Definitely.
I had a brain.
The Starro the Conqueror. How excited you are for Suicide Squad.
Okay, so sorry about that brain fart.
It's the redemption for his birthday.
I knew that was going to come up. I was thinking, watch, it's going to come up at least once on this podcast.
Hey, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was on him. It was on him.
But hey,
it was on him.
You'll get excited though.
But with James Gunn, he understands that yes, Gotham is a dark universe, but there are aspects, these characters are still fun.
Yeah, exactly. So you can tell by the character design, even having Polka Dot Man and having John Cena be Peacemaker and being a douchey Captain America, like that sounds cool. Like I'm at least interested to see what they do with it, because it's it's kind of like we're doing what Aquaman did, where embrace that fun and that silliness.
It's like they forgot to have fun.
Exactly.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah, Batman should always be a dark character, but don't forget to sprinkle a little bit of fun in it. And if you're gonna focus on the villains, especially with like somebody like Harley Quinn being one of the main ones who's so anarchic, you don't have to make it brooding. Harley Quinn is not a brooding character, so make it fun.
Or they just go completely off the deep end with the movie earlier this year where she like breaks the fourth wall and they try to make her like a female Deadpool. We'll get into that. We need to talk about that movie.
Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a debate about it then.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next time. But well, what do you think, Josh?
From the behind the scenes, it does look like you said, like that. Watching James the behind the scenes and seeing how much fun they were having, like you said, like Jimmy said, like.
Well, James Gunn actually said this is going to be the biggest thing. I don't know if he's just blowing smoke up his own horn right now or what.
Tuning his own horn or blowing smoke up his ass. You gotta get them straight.
Whatever.
We just gotta wait to see what happens when the movie drops. But overall, from what I've seen in the trailer and overall from the behind the scenes, it looks like it's going to be a very entertaining movie. Like the first one wasn't.
It's going to be what the first one was supposed to be.
I didn't even. Honestly, I fell asleep through the first one and I did not want to watch it again. Like I slept through like the first hour and I woke up to the last 20 minutes and that was like the most jam-packed full like scene that they had. But
it was still crap.
I was still like, I woke up to this.
You woke up to the trash, the circle of trash in the sky.
I'm just like, oh my God.
Such high hopes for that movie, and then just to see what they do with it.
This is the perfect metaphor for that movie.
And I'm just gonna go back because
circle of trash.
From the Cut the Films podcast, I always say it, and overall, F. Peters,
David Ayer,
Dave Peters, whatever. I forgot his name.
Dave Peters.
You already know who I'm talking about.
Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson.
Why are we bringing him up?
F you. Because he's in the freaking Suicide Squad.
So what?
I don't want him in there.
Oh, you're just jealous. You're just jealous.
No.
It's all right. It's okay. Josh.
Well, I mean, it's. Okay. I feel like there's also, since they have so many characters, like probably what I feel like what I feel like is a possibility what could happen is half of them are gonna die, or like they're gonna, the first round of them is gonna go into bed. They're not gonna know what they're up against, and then Starro is going to attach himself to all of them, and then Rick Flag or Harley's going to break out, go back to Amanda Waller, tell her what's going on, and then they're going to get that new round of the Suicide Squad. So I feel like half of them are probably going to die, and Pete Davidson is probably one of them. I feel like the only characters who are really safe are Harley and Idris Elba. Harley and Bloodsport.
Harley because she's Harley, and Idris Elba
because he's handsome.
Because he's a star.
I was so disappointed. I was like, I was really hoping for him to be John Stewart.
At least we know that he's at least moving from Marvel to DC. You know, we already had him.
Well, my first thought was he was gonna be Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger is a more valid member and has been like a longer running member of the Suicide Squad. So I felt like, when it was first announced, he's not going to be Deadshot because they want to open that door for the possibility of Will Smith coming back. I was like, Bronze Tiger. And then, but I feel like too, it's, I feel like the reason too, James Gunn is wanting to do more of those obscure characters that nobody knows about, so he can kind of just have fun and do whatever the hell he wants with them.
I think so too.
And like, it's actually, and then Taika Waititi is in this too. So that was further why I was thinking, it was going to be that he's probably going to voice Starro, in my opinion, because he was the only one who didn't have any character reveal who he was going to be. And then we're like, okay, if it's going to be Starro, then he's going to be the one to voice Starro. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Good
so I feel like it's going to be good. If anything, it's going to be fun, going to be dumb, fun.
I'm excited for it, for sure.
Yeah, especially because Starro is one of those.
I need to mention something. I wanted to mention.
How dare you mention something when, okay, you can, please go ahead.
I'm sorry. You know how I was talking about, this is just to clarify something that I didn't word very well on another podcast. Remember when we brought up Steppenwolf and the way that he looks?
No, I do not. I was pretty drunk that night.
Snyder's, in the upcoming Zack Snyder Justice League cut. That's my thing with it. I get he's being dark and gritty, but it seems like the directors of these movies refuse to embrace some of the silliness.
Right.
Some of the...
No, you're definitely right.
Yeah, some of the silliness.
That's really what I really respected and appreciated about James Wan with Aquaman and having Ocean Master have his traditional costume in the end.
Yeah. So that's what I like about this movie. And that was my initial problem with Steppenwolf, just to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like it's trying too hard to be dark and gritty instead of embracing the more, I don't know, playful look of how it is.
Playful, colorful, fun aspects of what these
characters are. Zack Snyder and the new.
Well, I think it's the matter they want. They're trying to show.
Tone of it.
Well, they're trying to show people that these can be this is material that can be for adults too. It isn't just for kids. It isn't like Guardians where it's.
But you don't want to have to try too hard to prove that though.
Exactly.
But overall, Zack Snyder's.
But you hire Zack Snyder, you know what you're going to get. It's like if you want something like that, you hire James Gunn.
Yeah, but you get what I mean.
Our director who understands that overall vision.
But you get what I mean. Like some of the directors refuse, and I like I said, I still want Batman Dark, but some of the directors refuse to embrace the more colorful, quirky, fun aspects of the comic books and act like that's not actually part of the history of it when it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you think of just like everything that happened in the Silver Age of comics and how toned down it was, and the Joker was just like this harmless prankster, and then you compare him to like how he's portrayed later, especially like the Dark Knight Returns and the Killing Joke, where he's just this homicidal maniac who has no personality of his own. Like those are contrasting personality differences and just differences in how people portray it. But I mean, just with going with that, it just I think it's just a matter of people shouldn't, our directors and creators shouldn't be scared of embracing this aspects of the characters.
Yeah, the more fun aspects.
Yeah.
Like they're afraid they're going to be looked at for being cheesy.
You guys already milked Batman long enough. Might as well just try something new with it. Bring in the let's go quirky Batman, or bring Batman.
Yeah.
Bring back Adam Wee. Bring back Adam Wee, the Adam Wee's version.
I think that
Batman Beyond would be.
See, I'm telling you, the Batman Forever Schumacher cut can fill in that hole for the.
All right, I am interested to see that though, just because I
do want to see what he did. I'm curious,
and it would explain how Dick is able to how he has all of a sudden combat experience, because there was a scene of him training with Batman in their gym. So it's like how does this circus acrobat all of a sudden know how to fight and throw kicks and everything?
Well, we will know in the next episode of Heroes and the Mutants.
That's something we need to. I think that's a topic we need to touch on. Honestly, just looking back on Schumacher's legacy. That's definitely,
that would be nice,
especially just all the studio meddling, but we'll get into that next time. So with all that being said, we thank you guys so much for joining us today, but we have to cut it a little short today. Sorry about that.
We got you
there. And now you guys all know we here at Higher Passion Entertainment offer you so many different podcasts to get you going. But if you ever wondered how we produce these shows so fast and with dope quality, we work with our friends here at Productive Culture.
Hey.
Productive Culture offers full service recording, mixing, mastering, and podcast production. If you guys want to get your own podcast going, hit them up and go to productiveculture.com/podcast and tell them Higher Passion Entertainment sent you, and you're going to get a discount on your first episode. Plus, your referral helps us out, so don't forget to go to productiveculture.com/podcast and let them know that Higher Passion Entertainment sent you guys. So thank you guys so much for joining us on episode 28 of the Heroes and Mutants podcast. I'm Nick with
James
and Josue.
And Ruben will be back next week, but make sure to hit that like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and make sure
our other podcasts,
and like us and follow us on IG. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys' time.
Stay
Rest
safe.
in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.